What's going to happen to milk when you take all of the water out of it? How about chocolate milk? What's it going to turn into? Not too long ago, we had a video where we dehydrated 2 bottles of soda, and the result I thought was really interesting. What we ended up with was this super thick, concentrated syrup that looked really cool. We had a Coke one and an orange one, and they both ended up like a liquid gelatin sort of stuff. I really liked that result, and I wanted to try it with some other stuff. So today, we're gonna see what happens if we dehydrate milk. We've got the Dehydratron 5000, and we've got our trays, so we're gonna put some milk in, but along with that, we're also going to try some chocolate milk. And I thought that there would be a few different ways to do that. Maybe we could get some pre-made chocolate milk, but it's harder to tell if that's really gonna turn into a powder, and that's what I'm hoping we'll get, is that both of these will dehydrate down into something that can then be turned into a complete powder. And I figure if we use something that starts as a powder, we know that it's not gonna turn into any sort of liquid as it dehydrates. To start off, we're gonna take one of our trays, put it in our dehydrator, and add about 2.5 cups or 20 ounces of milk. And then we're gonna mix up the same amount of milk with some chocolate powder and add that onto another tray. Now what we need to do is wait. Dehydrating is not a super fast process, and milk has a lot of liquid in it. So this is gonna take a little bit of time. I would guess at least a couple of days before this is really dehydrated all the way. And as usual, I'll be monitoring it, and if the trays seem like they're evaporating unevenly, I might switch their places in there, turn the heat up and down as is necessary. But we're gonna just let this run until that milk is completely devoid of liquid. So while we wait, I want to take a second to talk about Audible, the sponsor for today's video. Audible has the largest selection of audiobooks, and they're always adding new content so they keep things fresh. Something new that they've just released is called Audible Originals. Audible Originals are exclusive audio titles created by celebrated storytellers from things like theater, literature, journalism, and more. Since these Audible Original pieces are made for and exclusive to Audible, you can't get them anywhere else. Audible is offering new listeners a free 30-day trial that comes with 1 credit good for an audiobook and 2 credits good for Audible Originals. With Audible, all of your media is yours to keep, even if you cancel your membership. You can go back at any time and listen to pieces, even if you aren't currently a subscriber.
Recently, I've been listening to the audiobook called Legion, The Many Lives of Stephen Leeds by Brandon Sanderson. It's great because I love reading, but I don't often like to sit still long enough to read a hard copy.
Get 1 free audiobook and 2 Audible Originals when you try Audible for free for 30 days. Go to audible.com/thekingofrandom or text the King of Random to 500-500. That's audible.com/thekingofrandom. It's now been a couple of days and our milk is completely dehydrated. Remember, we had normal milk and we had some chocolate milk mixed in with a chocolate powder. So now we're gonna reveal what we've got inside, what it looks like, how dry is it, what texture is it, can we blend it up into a powder, can we rehydrate it? Let's check this out. Ooh. There is our standard milk. Here's our chocolate milk. So right off the bat, a couple of observations. 1, the standard milk seems to be cracking a lot more, and it didn't really break up like that on its own. Most of that's from when I would switch the sheets back and forth so that they had equal exposure time directly above the light bulb and being on top where it wasn't quite so direct of heat. And I'm sure my fingers just kind of popped it, because this is very thin aluminum, it's very easy to bend. So I do think that probably broke it up a little bit. But you can really see, like, this is dry. I mean, this just flakes apart immediately. Even the thicker sections over here are just completely crumbly. All right, look at the chocolate. So we do have some crumbliness, definitely. Bits are breaking off. It's not quite as weak as the plain milk. Oh, and in parts it's even still fairly flexible. Something in the chocolate powder seems to be preventing it from getting quite as crinkly, at least everywhere. Some of the chocolate seems to have settled out of the milk. So on one side it's this light color, and on the other side that's just very much the color of chocolate. Kind of some fun popped bubble texture all over this. Now I know you're expecting this, and yes, I am gonna taste it and see what it's like. So here goes. This is just
a flake of completely dehydrated milk. It's kind of gross. I think it even does sort of have a milk flavor, but a milk flavor should only be in milk. On something else that has that sort of texture in your mouth, it's really not pleasant. I don't recommend that. Dehydrated chocolate milk. Let's try a piece of this. Well, the chocolate flavor does come through, but less than I thought. That milky taste is still very present. Yeah, the texture on this definitely is a little bit gummier. It's not like a gummy, but it has a little bit more chew to it. Whereas the plain milk just crunched and crumbled apart in my mouth and when I was chewing on it. This stuff has a little bit of resistance. It's not gonna catch on as a candy. This does a great job of not sticking to our tray. If you saw our dehydrating slime video, that was a lot harder to get off of our aluminum tray. The milk though was just kind of popping right off. It's really nice. We've got 2.5 cups of milk. That's about 20 ounces of liquid in this right here. And in this one, we have what's left after we dehydrated it. So I want to see the weight difference. How much have we lost? We're going to start with ounces. Now, including our measuring cup here, we are at 43.63 ounces. 25.33. If my math is right, we have lost 18.3 ounces or 718 grams by dehydrating our milk. So now, of course, what we need to do is to see if we can rehydrate this. I think it's gonna work best if we try and turn this into a powder and then mix it in with water. We'll measure out the same amount of water that we lost, then we'll try mixing it back in and see if it works. Mostly turned into dust. Looks like I do still have some bigger pieces. These pieces that were softer. I'm gonna try and take those out and run them through again. We're just gonna stick with grams. All of our international friends will thank us for using the metric system for once here. The weight of my cup with the dehydrated milk in it was zeroed out on the scale, and then I put the cup with the non-dehydrated milk in it, and I get 521 grams. So that should be what I need to add in water to get to the total weight again. There we go, 521. This is looking super gross. It's also not mixing well. So you know what? I think we're going back in the blender. We're gonna try and blend it all together. That looks like milk. It looks like milk that's got something kind of weird going on, and there's clearly some solids still down in that did not blend well. But I think the real test here is obvious. That is not good. So this isn't any good, in my personal opinion, but it does taste like dehydrated milk, just the product that you can buy at the store. I have had times in my life where I drank dehydrated milk for a while, and while I definitely didn't like it, it's better than no milk at all, and this tastes quite a bit the same to me. I think our next test needs to be to see if we can do this with the chocolate milk. Will that restore back to being chocolate milk? Will it be any good? And I'm also gonna do a test where I try heating up the water to see if that helps blend it back in better and to see if it will make hot chocolate. We need another 521 grams of water, and then we're gonna mix that in with our chocolate dehydrated milk. We're gonna use hot water to see if it dissolves a little bit better. Well, it foams up a fair bit, so it no longer fits in that container. I'm afraid this is too hot, so I'm using a spoon. That is worse than the regular milk. The chocolate taste is just really not there the same way I thought it would be. It was pretty rich when I made it. It doesn't taste like hot chocolate. I mean, you can kind of say like, oh, that's hot and I guess a little bit chocolatey, but I wouldn't call it hot chocolate. I don't like that. I suppose it's also possible that it picked up some of the taste of the aluminum tray that was sitting on, because it does almost have metallic-y sort of taste. Yeah, I'm gonna go with not a fan. Just wanna make sure I actually got the liquid and not just the foam. Yeah, still not good. Like, it's not like it tastes like poison. You're just like, why would I wouldn't drink that on purpose. It's not enjoyable. Can you dehydrate milk entirely in our dehydrator? Yes, you can. It actually worked pretty well, went decently fast, and just turned into this flaky, crumbly mess. I was able to powderize that in the blender. It powderized pretty well, turned into this very fine dust, and it even kind of rehydrated. It tastes pretty similar to commercially available dehydrated milk. I did some research and I thought it was interesting how they usually go about making that. They'll take the normal milk, they'll put it in an evaporator, something that's slightly heated, to get rid of some of the excess water. While they're heating up, they'll actually also put it in a partial vacuum. The lower pressure makes it so that the water will boil off at a lower temperature, about 135 degrees Fahrenheit. After about 1/3 of the liquid has been boiled off at low pressure, they'll then take the concentrated milk and they'll spray it into a chamber that's heated up. Heated so high that the water actually evaporates out of it almost instantaneously. So you have these tiny little sprayed particles going in and then drying out right away. So just the act of spraying it like that sort of turns it into a powder already dehydrated. They don't need to dehydrate it on a sheet, scrape it off, and then blend it up the way I was doing here. They just spray concentrated milk into a heated chamber and it turns into dehydrated milk powder. Thanks again to Audible for sponsoring today's video. Check the link in the description or go to audible.com/thekingofrandom to start your free trial and get 1 free audiobook and 2 free Audible originals. Guys, that's it for today, but the fun doesn't have to end here. That box up at the top will take you directly to our last video. You should go check that out. The other box will show you what YouTube thinks you should be watching next. And if you aren't subscribed to the channel yet, hit this bomb to get in the club. That way you never miss out on the fun. Don't forget to ring that bell, and we'll see you in the next one. Talk to you then.